Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. I was really fascinated by this YouTube video transcript you sent over. The one where the creator was talking about like how we can actually tell if we've learned from those life lessons that keep coming back.
Yeah, definitely. This idea that our emotional responses can be like this really powerful indicator of, actual personal growth.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It is, and that's what we're going to try to unpack in this deep dive, right? Like give everyone listening a way to better understand those reactions they're having as signs of how they're moving through life's challenges.
Mm.
Okay, so like right off the bat, this idea of recurring life lessons really grabbed me. Those tricky situations that just seem to keep popping up over and over again.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And you know what's so interesting about that? It's almost like life's not just throwing these things at us randomly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it keeps presenting these similar scenarios
Yeah.
until we actually get it.
Yeah.
Until we kind of process what needs to be learned.
Until something shifts, yeah. And that's where this idea of emotions being the key really comes in.
Totally.
It's not just about thinking differently. It's about like feeling differently about those familiar situations. The video really hammers that home.
It does. So think back to a time when a specific situation, like a conflict at work or maybe just a certain dynamic in a relationship, just whatever, it would trigger a really intense emotional response for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, frustration, anxiety, something like that.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
As we start to process whatever the underlying lesson is in those situations, the intensity of the emotions we feel the next time something similar happens, well, it starts to lessen.
It does. And even just a little reduction in that emotional charge, it can be huge.
Exactly. Even if it's subtle, that lessening is actually showing that something deeper is going on.
It is.
It's not just that we intellectually get it. It's that, like, the way we experience it is changing on a more fundamental level. It's almost like someone's turning down the volume on the emotional trigger,
Yeah, I like that.
And as that volume gets turned down, it can lead to something really, really transformative.
Absolutely.
The video points out that those situations that used to have such a grip on us, they just start to lose their power.
They do. And it's because, well, they don't evoke the same level of intensity.
Right.
Like, think about it in your own life. Think about those challenges that just seem to keep popping up.
Yeah.
When you bump into something similar now, what happens? What's your initial gut reaction? Is it the same level of like, whoa, as it used to be?
Right. And that shift, or even the lack of a shift, it's telling you something. So for everyone listening, this is where the rubber meets the road. Start paying closer attention to how you're feeling in those familiar situations. Think back to those triggers from your past.
And this brings up, a really important question for self-reflection. When you're facing those similar things now, do you feel any difference in how strongly you're reacting? Even a tiny change,
It can be a sign of some serious internal progress.
Yeah.
The bottom line here, and the video really drives this point home, is that our emotions are giving us feedback all the time.
They are.
It's like we're getting live updates on our growth, on how we're dealing with life's lessons, just by paying attention to how intense those feelings are in those recurring situations.
Exactly.
So as you go through your day, just take a second to think about a situation, one that used to really get to you.
Yeah.
How does it feel now when you think about it? What does that tell you about your own journey?
That's a great question.
It really is. Thanks for diving deep with us, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.